At the 10-year high school reunion, I showed up barefaced, wearing an outfit that cost no more than 300 yuan in total, holding a child in my arms. And my ex-boyfriend, the poor boy I had once dumped, was now the CEO of some major corporation, dressed in a sharp suit, sitting right across from me. My older sister went off traveling, leaving her 3-year-old daughter behind. My mom caught wind of it early and made herself scarce faster than anyone. By the time I realized what was happening, my 3-year-old niece had already been delivered to my little single-person flat. I opened my eyes to find us staring at each other. Their reasoning was beautiful. I work from home, so looking after a child shouldn't be a problem. A 3-year-old is a menace. My little niece has a lovely face but the soul of a tiny demon, keeping me up every night. A quick death would be kinder. She doesn't need a knife. She kills me slowly by singing in my ear. At 5:30 a.m., bleary-eyed, I got up to make her bottle and prepare her rice porridge, then fell back asleep until p.m., and that bloody reunion was scheduled to start at exactly p.m. It had been 10 years since graduation. I'd mostly forgotten my classmates, and besides, these reunions are just about showing off after you've seen the teachers. You compare luxury handbags, I compare sports cars. Dull and pointless. A bunch of people bragging about jobs and salaries. If there's any classmate camaraderie, it's probably just about networking, trying to get someone to recommend their useless husband. I sat blankly at my dressing table for a while, then finally gave up. I pulled on a plain white cotton t-shirt my niece had already customized and a pair of gray trousers. I couldn't even be bothered with tinted moisturizer, heading out the door with dark circles under my eyes. Oh, and I brought my 3-year-old niece along. Pay for one, eat for two. Brilliant. Walking into the private room, I immediately spotted the strategically placed luxury handbags with logos facing out and the subtle flashes of expensive watches as people adjusted their cuffs. The moment I entered, all eyes at the already eating tables turned to me, trying to match my face to a memory. Xiao Xiao, you finally made it. Come, sit here. A pretty girl broke the silence, eagerly pulling out a chair for me. With my octopus-like niece clinging to me, I walked over calmly and took my seat. As soon as I sat down, whispers started at the next table. Is this your daughter? She's so lovely. Her eyes really look like yours. The little terror was all bravado at home, bullying anything that breathed. But faced with a room of strangers, she clammed up, shrinking quietly into my arms. Yes, seeing me confirm it, her smile widened. Married so early. Is your husband not around? Couldn't he help with the baby? I picked up my chopsticks and helped myself to a piece of lobster, replying nonchalantly, divorced. He was fooling around right after the 1-month milestone. The court battle took a year. After I said that, I felt the people beside me subtly shift their chairs away. They turned their heads and started talking about stocks and banks. No one touched their food. I spun the lazy Susan, eating a bit of everything I fancied. They just brought out the lion's head meatballs, a dish this hotel does brilliantly and one I've always loved. But before my hand could reach the turntable, a girl in a black dress swiftly spun it away to the opposite side. Chen Shu, I remember you used to love lion's head meatballs. These are quite good here. Have a try? The name was far too familiar. So familiar that the surrounding chatter suddenly died down, and that was the only name I caught. I poked at the shrimp in my bowl and slowly looked up, seeing the ex-boyfriend I had heartlessly dumped back in high school. He looked completely different from the boy in the white school shirt. Chen Shu was wearing a black suit, looking so proper, as if he'd just rushed over from a board meeting. Over the years, I'd vaguely heard my dad mention a new internet company and the name Chen Shu, but I never paid it much mind. I never imagined the poor boy could actually climb this high, step by step. No need. Chen Shu's fingers were slender, resting elegantly on the turntable. It wasn't until that plate of lion's head meatballs landed perfectly in front of me that I managed to look away from his hands. The girl in the black dress probably didn't expect Chen Shu to do that. Neither did I, but I have thick skin. I picked one up and started eating. Oh, Xiao Xiao, you two were such a sweet couple back then. So you both liked lion's head meatballs, huh? I skewered a meatball with my chopsticks, popped it in my mouth, and pretended not to hear the girl in the black dress. It was never Chen Shu who liked lion's head meatballs. It was always me. Back then, the ones he bought from the canteen were for me. Because they were so popular, the canteen had a purchase limit, and I could eat several in one go, so I'd ask my boyfriend to get an extra one for me. I didn't pay attention to what Chen Shu replied because the little tyrant in my arms started fussing. Flustered, I fished a bottle out of my bag and asked a waiter to show me where to get hot water. When I returned, the little miss was no longer waiting obediently at our table. Zhao Xiao, she's over here. Your daughter is so adorable, bottle in hand. I walked halfway around the table and finally spotted my little niece, clinging to someone's leg, her round face resting on their knee. I forced an awkward smile and looked up to see whose leg she'd latched onto. My ex-boyfriend really knows how to make things difficult for me. I never thought I was Zhao Moshing, and Chen Shu definitely wasn't He Yichin. When we broke up back then, everyone thought I'd dumped Chen Shu. Butha was the one who said it. Too embarrassed to admit I'd been dumped, I let the rumor slide to save face. So, mustering my thick skin, I scooped up my niece, who was still stuck to Chen Shu's leg. Say hello to Uncle, I said, holding her and giving Chen Shu a bright smile. I don't know how others enjoyed the meal, but I certainly had my fill, even managing to feed the little madam a few egg dumplings. As we were leaving, the performance started again. You accidentally drop a car key worth millions. My husband comes to pick me up wearing a luxury watch. Holding the little one's hand, I yawned. Anyone picking you up, Zhao Xiao? You can ride with me if not. It was the girl in the black dress again. I was starting to remember her a bit. She was probably the Chinese class representative back then. Someone is, thanks. She seemed slightly taken aback by my answer. Oh, that's good. I was going to offer you a lift if not. Do you still live in Ziking? A decade ago, Ziking was the symbol of wealth. Now, with Biking's rise, it's a more prosperous area. And naturally, I've moved there. I shook my head, thanking her for her kindness. But as classmates left one by one, eventually only the little one and I were left at the entrance. Uncle Gu, our family driver, had gone to pick up Dad, and the taxi I booked was stuck in traffic. I slowly crouched down, chin in hand, and waited. A suit jacket, still warm, was draped over my shoulders. I turned my head and saw Chen Shu. I'll take you home. No, really. Someone is coming for me. I didn't dare get into Chen Shu's car, so I showed him the ride-hailing app page. It's cancelled. In the end, I still led the little one into Chen Shu's car. The taxi driver cancelled the order due to the long wait, leaving me no choice but to accept the lift. 10 years on, Chen Shu was still much the same, even handsomer, sharp eyebrows, bright eyes. One look was still enough to make the heart flutter. Neither of us spoke on the way. Finally, Chen Shu's car stopped in front of my small flat. You live here? Ex-husband left it in the divorce. He walked away with nothing. The words slipped out, and I immediately regretted them, sneaking a glance at his expression in the rear-view mirror. Chen Shu was actually smiling. He countered, Zhao Xiao, do you know what your little tell is when you lie? How would I know my own tell? But since Chen Shu had called me out, my face burned. Does that mean he knew I was lying from the very first sentence at the table? Mummy. The little one in my arms suddenly spoke up, tugging at my collar, squirming. Finally getting a hold of her, an idea struck me. She's only 3. How could she lie? What did you call me, baby? Say it again? I ruffled the little madam's hair, satisfied to hear her call me mummy once more. Sorry, sis. Borrowing your kid for a bit. When I looked up again, Chen Shu's expression had cooled, as if frosted over. Holding my niece, I watched Chen Shu drive away in silence. The little rascal was still wriggling in my arms when I spotted my older sister, Kinsei's car parked not far away. That's why she started calling for mummy. She saw her mum's car. The moment I set her down, she toddled off towards Kinsei. Ungrateful little thing. I looked after you all that time and never got a mummy. But the mum who abandoned you for a holiday gets all the affection. You've met him then? Kinsei was still wearing sunglasses. She picked up her daughter and walked towards me. I was completely lost. Met who? Chen Shu. You've seen him already. What's he like now? What are you on about? Dad's company had a project with Chen Shu's firm recently. I heard Dad wanted to introduce you to him. But I also heard he had a high school sweetheart, an unattainable white moonlight. He's still single. You're not getting any younger, you know. Why not give it a try? I felt like I'd been struck by lightning. Give it a try? More like a death sentence. So the whole divorced single mum image I projected to Chen Shu. He saw right through it from the start. My dear big-mouthed dad had already spilled all the details about my situation. A class reunion? You were high school classmates? So do you know who that white moonlight of his is? Trembling, I forced a smile and pointed a finger at myself. Me? Kinsei frowned, looking me up and down. His taste is rather unique then. Do you have to talk about your own sister like that? Resistance was futile. 3 days after the reunion, I found myself ushered into a meeting with Chen Shu. Before I left, Kinsei nagged relentlessly, insisting I put on a full face of makeup. Your eye makeup is so heavy. Do you even know what white moonlight means? Kinsei gave me a complete makeover, applying a fresh, natural look, then personally drove me there. He's Dad's business partner. And I can tell you like him too. At the very least, behave properly this time. The destination was a cafe in the north of the city. The moment Kinsei dropped me off, fearing I'd bolt, she sped away as soon as the car door closed. Standing there, inhaling a bit of exhaust fumes, I turned around wide-eyed and met Chen Shu's gaze through the cafe window. Chen Shu was never talkative, and he still wasn't. Back then, I used him as a rubbish bin for my worries. But now, how could I dare treat CEO Chen as a rubbish bin? Having worked as a freelance illustrator at home for years, my social skills seemed to have deteriorated. I couldn't muster the shameless bravado I'd displayed at the reunion. Are you really that reluctant to see me? He sighed, sounding a bit helpless. No. I hurriedly waved my hands. It's just been so long. I don't know what to say. Shall we talk about that dreadful ex-husband of yours? I looked up blankly, just catching the last trace of a smile at the corner of Chen Shu's mouth. The one who fooled around and ended up with nothing. What's there to talk about? Stammering, I picked up my glass and took a big gulp of ice water, which cleared my head a little. Chen Shu called the waiter over and had my ice water replaced with a warm drink. In high school, my stomach was always fragile. Eating a bit too much would upset it, and I chewed digestive tablets like sweets. Yet I loved spicy food and cold drinks. Chen Shu became the one who reined me in, eating 3 meals a day with me, always finding tasty yet healthy options. Thinking back, he was really good to me then. It was puppy love, but we got along well. To this day, I still haven't figured out why Chen Shu broke up with me. My mind was wandering when the waiter brought coffee and pastries. No coffee for me. All the pastries were placed in front of me. I picked a light blue macaron and was surprised to find it tasted exactly like the ones from years ago. That shop, with its amazing desserts, had moved away before we even graduated. Tasting that familiar flavor now, I looked at Chen Shu in surprise. It's the original pastry chef. Chen Shu looked at me with focused intensity, as if I were the only person in his world. I looked for him for a long time. Finally found him. He always stated things so matter-of-factly. I'd ordered from almost every place around here but never found macarons that tasted like these. Chen Shu might have spent years finding the chef who now worked in this little cafe. Jiao Xiao, it's been 10 years. Your taste in these hasn't changed. And my feelings for you haven't changed either. Are you still willing to be with me? A pale yellow macaron half in my mouth, I stared at him blankly. Through Chen Shu's eyes, I seemed to see the boy from back then, in his simple white school shirt, who still shone brightly in my heart. Then why? Why did you break up with me back then? Back then, I first heard the name Chen Shu from my best friend, the maths genius who aced everything. After barely scraping into this prestigious high school, I slacked off, floating around the middle of the rankings. The first time I spoke to Chen Shu was because I wanted to copy his maths homework. He didn't refuse. He let me copy it. But after becoming his girlfriend, his attitude changed. He started tutoring me instead. I muddled through and got into a decent local university, partly thanks to Chen Shu. I'm self-aware. I'm no great beauty, but I clean up all right. Chen Shu's homework was always in high demand. That day, I only got my hands on it just before the class rep came to collect it. Copying furiously, flipping through his neat notebook, I unconsciously sighed. Chen Shu, if only you were my boyfriend. All right. The second half of my sentence, then I could copy your homework first, got stuck in my throat. From that day on, as if in a dream, Chen Shu became my boyfriend. In my memories, he was always patient queuing in the long canteen lines, explaining problems to me over and over. So that day in the corridor, when he stood against the light and said we should break up, I was stunned for a long time, a small gift I'd brought for him clutched tightly in my palm. Now, meeting him again, this unanswered question from a decade ago resurfaced. Why? Because you didn't like me. Chen Shu pushed a small slice of cake towards me. Not enough. My little fork accurately speared the strawberry on top, reminding me of my joke of a confession. 10 years felt so long. Yet every moment with Chen Shu felt vivid. You liked the fruit salad shop on Left Street. You had to have the canteen's lines had meatballs every day. You loved spicy food and cold drinks even though your stomach was weak. I knew maybe you were just having a whim being with me, but I fell for you completely. I envied everyone who could talk and laugh with you so easily. I wondered if one day I could be like that. get a little closer to you. The day you confessed to me was the luckiest day of my life. Turns out heaven heard my wish after all, and sent the girl I loved most right to me. Chen Shu finished speaking word by word. Any scrap of confidence I had evaporated. If Chen Shu had confronted me back then, asking if I really liked him, I could only have told him with regret that no, I didn't like him enough. It was a joke, but someone treasured it, was overjoyed by it, for so long. Chen Shu drove me back to my flat. Before I got out, he asked if I'd changed my number. Yes. After graduation, I went to an exhibition and my phone got stolen. I held my breath nervously, watching as he seemed to relax. I thought all these years, you just didn't want to see me. I never didn't want to see you. My voice was soft, but Chen Shu caught it. Then, see you next time? Zhao Xiao. His tone held a hint of laughter. I belatedly realized I'd fallen right into his trap. My usually quick-witted mind turned to sludge around Chen Shu, letting him lead me step by step. The moment I got home, I received a friend request from Chen Shu. His profile picture was still the little penguin I'd photographed at the aquarium years ago. We'd gone together to get that SIM card. He was still using it. My heart felt itchy. Lying on my bed, I buried my face in the duvet, rolled over, and accepted the request. His message came instantly. Going to an exhibition on Saturday, Zhao Xiao. It's that artist you like. Not going. This was my first refusal since we met again, but I had other plans. Seeing his profile picture sparked an idea. I wanted to walk the paths we'd walked before, to see if this time I would truly fall for him. I want to go to the aquarium, to see that little penguin. All right. Chen Shu's reply was instant and succinct. On the day of the aquarium visit, I dressed up carefully in my usual style, but changed my mind at the last minute and switched to a pale yellow dress I rarely wore. Opening the car door, I couldn't help but laugh. Chen Shu was wearing a khaki trench coat. Unspoken, we'd both chosen outfits reminiscent of the past. Time seemed to rewind. The years had left no trace. The aquarium was the same, but there were more penguins now. I searched but couldn't find the one with the white feathers that formed a heart shape. Here, Chen Shu tilted his head, pointing. I followed his gaze and finally found the elderly penguin grandpa. How do penguins walk? A line of children holding little flags followed their teacher. As soon as the teacher asked, a child stepped forward, arms pinned to their sides, hands flat like flippers, waddling side to side. It was a good imitation, very cute, and quickly earned the teacher's praise. I looked away, and an ice cream appeared before me. Chen Shu cleared his throat, meeting my puzzled look. One is allowed today. Holding the ice cream, watching the penguin grandpa eating fish, a mischievous idea struck. How do penguins walk? Chen Shu, ever the quick study, reacted instantly. He mimicked the pose, waddling side to side like a penguin. In a few steps, he was right in front of me, eating my ice cream. I laughed so hard I nearly toppled over. It was adorable when the kids did it. On Chen Shu, a grown man over 6 feet tall, it was hilarious. Teacher Qin, why aren't you praising me? The corners of Chen Shu's mouth turned down slightly as he bent to look up at me. You were brilliant. I raised a hand with a bit of melted ice cream and gave him a thumbs up. Chen Shu deftly pulled out a tissue, wiped my hand, and then naturally took hold of it. When he slipped our clasped hands into his coat pocket, my heart skipped a beat. Oh, what was I doing at the aquarium 10 years ago? I was just taking pictures of penguins. Neither of us said anything explicitly romantic, but the atmosphere was clearly different on the way back than it had been on the way there. Sitting in the passenger seat, I realized for the first time how short the drive home was, how soon I'd have to part with Chen Shu. What are you thinking? Noticing my glances out the window, Chen Shu finally spoke up at a red light. I wish this road were longer. The words escaped before I could think. Why? Chen Shu knew exactly what I meant but wanted to hear me say it. So I could spend a bit more time with you. Chin in hand, I fiddled with a penguin bracelet Chen Shu had bought me. I'm honored. The honored Chen Shu successfully secured another date with me the very next day. This time, it wasn't for fun. It was to his company, but he got caught in a last-minute meeting before picking me up. I have a car, so I just drove myself there. In the car park, I ran into the class rep from the reunion, the one in the black dress. A slightly chubby man trailed behind her. Zhao Xiao, I never expected to see them again after my performance at the reunion. You look so lovely today. I almost didn't recognize you. I almost didn't recognize her either. Awkwardly, I tried to hide my Chanel bag behind my back. You look lovely too. I offered a smile. Chen Shu's company is doing so well now. My husband has been in a related field for years. I specially recommended they meet. He's quite keen on working here. What about you? Baby not with you today? Here to see Chen Shu too? True to her role as Chinese class rep, the timid, probably recently unemployed man behind her was spun into a hot commodity. I'm quite keen on staying here too. Maybe find a stepdad for the kid. Some words escape without engaging the brain. Facing the class rep's stunned expression, I could only smile politely and say goodbye. Just out of the car park, I saw Chen Shu waiting at the entrance. In those CEO novels, when the female lead visits the company for the first time, she always takes a private lift. Then the supporting female character says, "That's the CEO's private lift." Chen Shu naturally took my hand and led me inside. The CEO doesn't have a private lift. Would Miss Qin still be willing to play the female lead? Not liking him would be a lie. I spent my days meeting and dating Chen Shu, and my nights dreaming of our time together in the past. The more I remembered, the more my heart fluttered. I just hated my younger self for being so dense, so slow to understand feelings. I hooked my little finger into his palm. We'll see. Chen Shu still had work to finish. A real CEO isn't as free as in novels, spending all day orbiting the female lead. I sat in his office playing Snake, the desk covered with snacks and a steaming cup of soy milk. The snake was unusually obedient today. I sped along, eating everything, growing huge, only to be defeated by a tiny, skinny snake. Looking up absent-mindedly, my eyes caught on a piece of illustration hanging on the wall. It looked familiar. I got up for a closer look. It was a cat playing with yarn, tangling all for paws lively and cute. And in the bottom right corner was a signature. My pen name. It dawned on me. This must be the first illustration I sold in university. For less than 1,000 yuan, a negligible amount in my account. But I bragged about it endlessly in the family group chat. I never expected to see it again in Chen Shu's office. Leaving the office, I noticed another piece in the corridor. Also mine. This was from when I'd gained a bit of fame. I held a small auction following a trend, and this piece sold for tens of thousands. Right after selling it, I bought my little flat and started my happy single life. So, in this decade seemingly without Chen Shu, he had been quietly by my side all along. Bored, Chen Shu rubbed his temples, having just stepped out of his office. "These are all my works," tears welling up. I pointed at one on the wall. "The CEO's company naturally only hangs the female lead's work." Chen Shu smiled sideways. "I have one I like even more. Want to see?" Without waiting for my reply, he took my hand and led me back into his office. He opened a drawer. Inside an exquisite frame was a fragile piece of scrap paper. A dozen little function dancers frolicked on the paper, complete with expressions and poses. This was my masterpiece from a decade ago. Chen Shu had set me some homework. Unable to complete it, I'd drawn on the scrap paper instead, only to have it confiscated. The creases had been smoothed out, preserved, cherished, become another person's treasure. I prepared a gift for Chen Shu. Many years ago, before Chen Shu broke up with me, I tried making needle-felted toys for the first time. I started with a simple carrot, then slowly progressed to little animals. The penguin I intended for him took me 3 whole days. I even pricked my finger in my haste. But that gift was never delivered. I clutched the little penguin so tightly in my palm that by the time I came to my senses, a wing had fallen off and then I was missing. After that day, I stuffed all the materials into the back of a drawer and never touched them again. Now, remembering it all, I was still bothered by that undelivered gift. So I bought new materials and started learning again. It's not hard, but not easy either. It took me a few days, on and off, to finish. The tutorial penguin was dopey and chubby, very cute. Mine turned out skinny, wearing a little suit, with white fur forming an upside-down heart. I was full of motivation while making it, but when the day came to give it, I felt shy. After watching me fidget for ages, Chen Shu put down his documents. "Something you want to say?" "No," I shook my head, fingers nervously twisting my clothes. "Then there's something you want to give me." Chen Shu's tone was so certain I wondered if I'd slipped up somewhere. "How did you know?" "Got you. For once." He wore a triumphant, almost cheeky smile. "Fine, since you asked, I'll give it to you." I produced a tiny felted penguin. "It looks like me." Chen Shu nodded seriously, studying the little penguin closely. Within minutes, I saw the penguin on his social media. He'd even changed his profile picture to this slightly rough felted creation. He'd set it up properly on his desk, even given it a leaf as a hat. I covered my face. How can this man be so childish? A week later, I took Chen Shu to meet my parents. The moment Dad saw Chen Shu, he launched into shop talk and wouldn't stop. Mom couldn't believe such a catch had fallen for me. She pulled me into the kitchen to ask what kind of love potion was so effective. "It's your daughter's excellence. She's excellent, okay?" Mom shook her head and sighed. Poor Chen Shu, so young and already blind. Zhao Xiao is a well-known illustrator now. More than a match for that Chen Shu. Kinsei winked at me, finally saying something decent. She pulled me into another corner and outright asked if I was being coerced. "You're together so fast. Is there some contract? Just a marriage of convenience?" I rolled my eyes. These two read more novels than I did. He likes me. I like him. It's that simple. Kinsei covered her mouth, stifling a giggle. I turned around. Chen Shu was standing right behind me. It was the first time I'd explicitly said I liked him. After dinner, we went for a walk. "This weekend, I'm meeting your parents. I've prepared some things. But think about what they might like." Chen Shu thought for a moment. "Whatever you choose will be fine." "That won't do." I stopped walking. "What if your parents don't like me? A long, long time ago, they already met you. They liked you very much." "When?" "Not telling." "Mean." I let go of Chen Shu's hand and pretended to walk ahead quickly. He caught up in a few strides. His warm trench coat wrapped around me. "I've caught Zhao Xiao. This isn't a dream anymore." He leaned close to my ear and whispered. "Chen Shu and I planned our engagement party for early spring. We hadn't intended to invite many people, just close family and friends. But someone posted the news in the class group chat. The long dormant chat exploded. Qin Zhao and Chen Shu. For real? Didn't they say Qin Zhao was already married with a 3-year-old? Is Chen Shu rushing to be a stepdad? I had the group muted, so I missed the drama. But my best friend, who transferred schools in our second year, messaged me. "You and Chen Shu have a 3-year-old? Why didn't you tell me anything? Where did these outrageous rumors come from?" I explained everything. She yelled over the phone. "Qin Zhao, did you just now develop feelings?" That night, the newly feeling me dreamed Chen Shu had me pinned to a desk, making me write messy functions. A night of nightmares left me struggling to get up the next morning. The alarm went off 5 times before I finally dragged myself out of bed. It was only while brushing my teeth, bleary-eyed, that I remembered today was the day we were registering our marriage. Chen Shu's car was already parked downstairs, my breakfast waiting inside. I don't know where Chen Shu found these meat buns, thin skin, generous filling, not greasy at all. After I finished my soy milk and touched up my lipstick, he finally started the car. Gripping the seatbelt, my heart raced. I was nervous. "Nervous?" I nodded. The next moment, Chen Shu's hand covered mine. "I'm right here." "Chen Shu, I might not like you as much as you like me, but I really like you. It's not a liking built on lion's head meatballs or macarons. It's Lakinju, the you who explained problems to me, the you who walked like a penguin. That's the Chen Shu who belongs only to me." Chen Shu pulled into a nearby car park. The moment the car stopped, he unbuckled his seatbelt and held me tightly. "From the time I was 17, I've been waiting for you to say that. Let me tell you, that guy Chen Shu is super smart. He can solve all the problems the teacher sets." 17-year-old Qin Zhao, holding her best friend's hand, hurried to the canteen. She barely heard. "Who, Zhang Shu? That's an odd name." Her mind was only on the canteen's lion's head meatballs, afraid she'd be too late to get any. Unexpectedly, when they returned, the homeroom teacher had rearranged the seats. Qin Zhao found herself sitting next to Chen Shu. Biting her pen, staring at the increasingly difficult maths problems, she glanced sideways at Chen Shu's already completed and closed homework book. Shamelessly, she spoke up. Classmate, could I borrow your maths homework to look at?" Qin Zhao smiled, her eyes curving like crescents, bright and sincere. For a moment, Chen Shu was dazzled. He handed his book to Qin Zhao. I should have written more neatly, he thought. Apart from borrowing homework, they had almost no interaction. Qin Zhao was outgoing, from a well-off family, generous. Between classes, she was always surrounded by chattering friends. Chen Shu didn't follow celebrities, rarely watched TV, knew nothing about dramas or stars. He sat quietly nearby, opening his exercise book, listening to the girls' laughter, his thoughts drifting. When did Chen Shu realize he liked Qin Zhao? It was at a school sports day. He'd signed up for the 3,000-meter run. Lap after lap, the chilly wind whistled through his sleeves. Chen Shu didn't start fast, saving his energy for the last 3 laps. Other runners passed him. He wasn't worried. maintaining his pace. He didn't know when Qin Zhao appeared. She ran alongside him on the inner grass field, her ponytail swinging. Go! Chen Shu! Go! 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 The event didn't allow pacing. She was quickly stopped. So Qin Zhao ran to the announcer's stand, borrowed the microphone, and read out the message she'd written for him, lap after lap. That day, Chen Shu broke from his plan for the first time. He sprinted the entire last 4 laps, finally reaching the finish line. Breathing heavily, hands on knees, he looked up and saw Qin Zhao on the announcer's stand, jumping for joy. Unconsciously, he smiled too. Sitting next to a top student should have been an advantage, but Qin Zhao was too lazy. She often only remembered homework when it was nearly due, then hurriedly copied answers to muddle through. Chen Shu's homework was borrowed by one classmate after another as soon as he finished. By the time it reached her, she almost had no time to copy. Chen Shu, if only you were my boyfriend. All right. Qin Zhao's eyes widened. The second half of her sentence, "then I could copy your homework first," got stuck in her throat. The day after Chen Shu became her boyfriend, she lost her source of copied homework. Problems she didn't understand. Chen Shu explained over and over until she got them. Though it took more time studying, Qin Zhao couldn't find any other faults. At 17, Chen Shu was already 6 feet tall, good-looking. Girls often confessed to him. Qin Zhao had landed a quality boyfriend for free. He queued for the popular Lion's Head meatballs for her, kept digestive tablets ready for her, listened seriously to her ramblings. The illustrations she drew in her spare time were carefully collected by him. Having a boyfriend is quite nice. Qin Zhao, holding her best friend's hand, sighed. The day after they got together, Chen Shu formally told his parents, "Puppy love is normal. It shouldn't be treated as a monster." After school, Chen Shu's parents waited near the school, watching Chen Shu come out carrying 2 backpacks. A ponytailed girl walked beside him, chattering like a little sparrow. That girl, her family must be well off, right? After dinner, Chen Shu's mom couldn't help voicing her worry. She'd seen Qin Zhao get into a luxury car. That one car alone could buy 2 of their family's flats. Chen Shu put down his bowl and chopsticks. She won't be wronged. I'll give her a better life. The sweet relationship lasted over a year. Finally, even Chen Shu could no longer deceive himself. Qin Zhao didn't like him that way. She treated him more like a close friend. She didn't share his anxieties, didn't dream of their future together. She didn't even grasp the difference between a romantic relationship and friendship. A sense of failure overwhelmed him. That day in the corridor, Chen Shu looked at Qin Zhao, his words awkward. "Let's break up." Qin Zhao blinked, finally understanding. She replied defiantly, "Break up then." Her ponytail swung as she trotted away, out of Chen Shu's sight. In the days that followed, they seemed like parallel lines that would never meet again. Qin Zhao got into a decent local university, shining in her chosen field. Chen Shu never allowed himself to slacken. He strived to become better, capable enough to fulfill his youthful promise. But for so long, he could only watch like an invisible shadow, using a secondary social media account to quietly follow his girl. He watched Qin Zhao share bits and pieces of her life, those seemingly trivial things. Qin Zhao's first artwork. He stayed at an internet cafe until late, and the moment the clock passed midnight, he purchased the newly listed illustration. Qin Zhao said she missed the macarons from that dessert shop near their high school. He searched every street and alley, asking around for the pastry chef. Before the 10-year reunion, Chen Shu had already built the largest internet company in the region. He had the capital to keep his old promise. He was capable enough to pursue her again. So Chen Shu ironed his suit, chose his tie, and arrived half an hour early. The door slowly opened. Finally, they met again. The memories end here. The girl he had loved for 10 years was now walking towards him in a wedding dress. She was the most beautiful bride in the world. His youth, the moon and the water he had finally grasped. "I do."